Hello, Goddess. Welcome back. This is Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul. And in this space, I guide goddesses to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as alchemy and energetics. Welcome back. I'm so happy to be here within this temple space with you to share another fabulous topic that is going to level up our feminine consciousness. We're going to talk about identity. We are going to talk about healing our feminine consciousness and how we do that through the emotional body, the feminine body, and that requires emotional control. So before I get deeply into this topic, I want to remind you to please like this video. Thank you to the Goddess Gang that have been liking the video. Please remember to share this video so that other goddesses such as yourself can receive this divine information. And please remember to subscribe to the channel. And apparently you have to press that notification bell so that you get reminded when I post more dope content like this every Monday. So I have my glass of water. Get yourself something to hydrate with. And thank you all to my new subscribers. Shout out to you. I'm so excited about this topic because it's actually super important. And it's so interesting how all of these topics have been coming along and how Spirit has really been informing me about what to share with you as we have made this transition from the feminine season of the fall and the winter into this masculine season of the spring and the summer. We are now in the Aries season, which means that the energy is going to start to pick up and elevate it. And we are also in the thick of eclipse season. So at the time that I actually launched this video, we will be somewhere between the first and the second eclipse. There is an eclipse on the 25th of March, and there is another eclipse, a corresponding eclipse that is occurring on the 8th of April. And if your life is anything like mine, it has been a lot of fast changes, a lot of feeling like I have, for me personally, like I am out in deep waters and really having to address the emotional changes that are happening within me based on the things that are going on in my environment out of my control. So I do feel like it is befitting that we get into this topic of emotional control. And, when these messages start to come through, they are iterated. So I've been having conversations with clients, women of the Goddess Tribe, about these emotional processes that we go through. And the core of healing is always going to start and end with emotions. So let's talk about how emotions affect our identity. Your identity is not only how you perceive yourself, and who you think you are, how you put yourself down on a piece of paper, or how you express your story, your narrative, your journey when you're in conversation is just a piece of the story. Your identity is shaped with each and every conversation that you're having with yourself on a daily basis. Those internal dialogues that you're having with yourself about who you want to be and how you are processing the events in your reality. And this is the basis of your identity, just the start of your identity, because the way in which you are responding to what is happening in your environment and the feelings that you have set off a chain reaction of processes chemically, neurologically inside of your body. And so your identity is not just how you think about yourself. So, for example, if you are thinking about yourself in a positive light, you are thinking about your experiences positively, then that is going to set off a positive feedback loop of neurological wirings, neurochemical processing, as well as hormonal processes. And as we know, our thoughts are often habitual. So if you start to take the time to think about the internal dialogue that you're having, the story that you're telling when you wake up, do you automatically default to, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. Here we go, a different same stuff, different day, like that type of mindset. What that does is it chemically primes your body for the type of day that you are going to have on the inside. And this internal environment that we are creating for ourselves is simply reflected in the external environment. So I hope that that makes sense. Let me take a look at my notes here because you know how I roll. We always have those notes. In my life, I have dealt with two cycles that I have been able to heal. And the reason that I am creating this video is because I want to share with you two techniques that have significantly helped me to overcome these cycles. So, in my formative years, I went through cycles of anxiety, which is real high energy, focused and fixated on events that have not yet come to pass, and funneling extra energy that was flowing through my body into my mind and fixating on these things that did not even happen. And majority of the time, the anxiety was then increased and amplified because they were not even within my control. So, as we develop in our feminine consciousness, it's very important to begin to stop, pause, assess the situation, and reflect on the question: is this within my control? The energy and the thought that I am funneling into this, stop and ask yourself, is this within my control? And this is a cognitive behavioral technique of observation and awareness about how you are experiencing life and participating with it. If it's outside of your control, then you need to have a certain level of emotional control and cap how much energy you are going to fuel into that situation and that scenario. And any extra energy that you have needs to be redirected and funneled into the aspects of yourself, particularly your internal environment that you can control. And this technique was something that really helped me to start to shift out of anxiety. However, it's not the technique that I'm going to share with you today, it's just a tip. The other experience that I had on the other end of the spectrum from anxiety was then depression. So those are the major lows that come also from feeling out of control and from feeling helpless and feeling like I was a victim of experiences that had occurred to me as I was growing and as I was developing. It was like my body had this default, and I started to study and I started to research what these processes were inside of the body. And I really had to slow down my life, and I had to slow down and focus and bring mindfulness to my internal state to realize that my body was actually running on a habitual chemical process of depressive hormones and depressive thoughts. And there was a summer where I finally came to the culmination of my inner work surrounding my inner child and wounding with my mothering wound and shadow work. And this work that I had been processing for years came to this culmination point, and I made this agreement with myself that I would start to take responsibility, full uncomfortable responsibility for my emotional and chemical state, starting with my mindset and how I was programming myself to deal with life. Because I was so tired of falling into these major dips. It's like I would start to have some progress in life and start to see the pathway opening. Things would start to flow. And then there would be this one small thing that just knocked me off of my center. And it would send me into this downward spiral of depression. And I would then, after taking a step forward, be set back 2 steps. Do you know that feeling that I'm talking about where it's one step forward and 2 steps back? I feel like that was the story of my life until I really started to realize that emotional control was key. I no longer wanted to be a victim, okay, of this anxiety and of this depression, because what it did was it perpetuated confusion. And because I was not able to center myself around a positive emotion, because I felt like I was not actually identifying it in my environment, the only thing that I knew how to identify with was struggle and hard work and suffering. It was the only thing that I was psychologically patterned and programmed from for to see. And that's how the brain actually works. The brain is going to highlight and it's going to turn up the dial on the things in which we are internally focused on. So if you are, for example, a little practice, one of like a really fun practice that I like to do is the lucky girl syndrome practice. So every now and then I like to take a 30-day period, and every day I try to find something that I feel lucky for. I try to find luck in the little things. So let's say I'm sitting here and I look outside of the window and a butterfly crosses my window. Wow. I am really lucky to see that butterfly crossing the window. Let's say I'm thinking about a good friend and I want to give them a call. I know I'm super busy, and that friend ends up texting me to check on me. And I was just thinking about them. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm catching the luck. Like, wow, I'm really lucky that that friend reached out to me in the midst of this busy week, this busy schedule. And if you start to condition yourself emotionally to identify specific things, in this case it's luck, what happens is psychologically you start to get programmed to filter out all of the things that are not in alignment with luck and to focus on the luck and the lucky situations. And you start to focus and you start to find it. It's like finding an egg on an Easter egg hunt. So I like to play these little games with myself to make life more juicy and more interesting so that I can restructure my identity in a playful and in a passive way. So, coming back to the topic of identity, the identity is our self identity, the narrative that we are creating, and the feedback loop that then turns into the emotional pathways that we create via our neurological programming, via our neurochemical programming, and our hormonal programming. And when you have undergone a lot of trauma in your body, your identity is full of these traumatic patterns and these traumatic cycles. It is like your body becomes a habitual magnet for trauma. And until you start to do inner work around these things, this is how you function. It's your baseline level of functionality. But then when you start to shift into these techniques that then clear up these patterns and recondition the patterns consciously, which is what we do in the Mystery Academy, is recondition our consciousness so that we no longer have to be victims of these patterns. And a bird just flew right on the branch outside and sat on the tree. And I feel like that is lucky because it reiterates the message that we want to be free of these patterns, these chemical chains that bind us. And the two techniques that I'm going to share with you today have tremendously changed my life in this way. So, one of the things that have been integral in me being able to up level my identity out of these traumatic cycles is to become decisive about what it is I want in life. And I feel like that is the hardest part, is actually making a decision because between the path of recognizing that you need to make a decision and being prepared to actually take physical action towards those decisions is the process of overcoming limiting beliefs. And I have a 6 step process for overcoming limiting beliefs so that you can achieve newer and greater levels in every chapter of your life within the Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course. We talk about overcoming limiting beliefs and how to shift them into ways and signposts that actually work in guiding us into our next step. But it was so important, I found in my journey, to become decisive about what I wanted. Because before you are actually able to make a decision, your intentions have no foundation, they have no framework or bases in order to grow. You need a foundation. A solid foundation before you can bring anything into reality. So, everything starts with those intentions. And if we are always in a state of emotional turmoil, we can't move through to actually find that clear path and the clear, authentic voice of our future self beckoning us forward into having it all. And we do have to move those limiting beliefs out of the way. Because once the limiting beliefs are moved out of the way and we start to make decisions on how we want to up level our identity, we are then able to identify those aligned actions and practice and perfect those process until we move into a state of embodiment, which we talk a lot about on this channel. But I found that I always had so much confusion in my body and in my life for such a long time because there were these old chemical and these old neurological pathways, and they have to be reset. And the thing about resetting your body, resetting your consciousness, is that it's not something that happens overnight. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight, but we can make it fun and we can make it simple by creating these little goddess devotional practices that really help to embed them into our systems. Okay. So I will share with you that I've had 2 major identity shifts in my life. Okay. The first identity shift that I had in my life that required a rewiring of my system, which is a rewiring of my identity, was when I decided that medicine was no longer for me. The traditional medical process and the traditional medical route was not for me. I was no longer a student of medicine. I had to up level my identity to become a student of life. Big shifts, scary, scary shifts, to go from being a child going through the pre-med, magnet, and high school, spending 5 years in college, going through the medical college application process, sitting and going to medical schools, having these interviews, and then all of a sudden my higher self saying, no, that's not for you. We're going to do something else. Talk about a major tower moment, a major shift in the very foundation that I stood on in life. It took so much for me to heal from that. And one of the ways that I healed from that was in the technique that I'm about to share with you. The second big identity shift that I had was when I went from being an instructor of movement and fitness into being a life coach. And the challenge about this was, not only was it a part of my identity and something that I did full time, it was also a great part of how people identified with me as an individual. And it's something that I was well known for, that I am still currently well known for. And the thing about being seen and being witnessed and entertaining the voices of other people and being focused on the reflection of what society is reflecting back to you, is that you can end up being typecasted incorrectly in order to save face and appease what people are looking at and who they are telling you you are, or who they prefer for you to be. And it's challenging when you are making that the center of your identity. And that's why it's important for us to come back to our goddess devotional practices and bring awareness to the emotional constraints that we have, so that we can liberate ourselves and fly free from these things. And so, as I have up leveled my identity into becoming a general coach and a general leader in life and in any community that I find myself in, one thing that I realize is that I'm never starting over. So, my history in medicine and my history in personal training and fitness and being a dancer and aerial athlete, I carry that into this chapter with me as a leader. And that's something that I want to encourage you to do, is to make sure that you are letting yourself know that you're never starting over. That every experience that you have has value in contributing to the foundation of your next level. Never let your past be for granted. Never take the experiences that you feel you've outgrown for granted, because they are always essential in building you into your next level. So, the path of self mastery comes from emotional control. There is nothing that you are going to be able to attain, any level of success that you're going to be able to attain and grasp and hold on to for extended periods of time, without successfully being able to have control over your emotional environment and taking emotional responsibility for the experience that you are having inside of your body and the communications that you are having inside of your body. Notwithstanding psychological issues and major trauma, at a more or less healthy baseline state, emotional control is within everybody's capability. You can reprogram yourself, reprogram your system, and reprogram your entire life through gaining emotional mastery over yourself. And this is what I have learned as I grow into higher states of existence and seeking deeper experiences in life. So the two techniques are energy psychology techniques. And so one is an energy psychology technique that I have been doing for almost a year now. I discovered this last year. It's an energy psychology technique called EFT, okay? Emotion coding and emotional frequency technique. And what this technique is, there are multiple locations across the body that you can actually tap on. And there are meridians that run through the body, okay, where we have emotional pockets and neurological bundles that are situated within the physiology of our bodies. And when we tap on these locations, the gathering of energy that occurs in these locations send master command signals to the emotions that we are experiencing in these locations. And through this technique, you can actually target that emotion and you can come in and you can disrupt negative emotional cycles, and you can then pour in positive emotional cycles into those processes. And this has been a game changer for me. You ladies know I'm always sharing with you the things that have been a game changer for me. And I just cannot wait. I have been so excited to share this with you, my tapping journey. Now, I did touch on a little bit of tapping inside of the 14-day Mind, Body, Soul Reset course. There's going to be tapping in all of my courses because it's just that important. And as women, we are that emotional energy that we bring into life and that we bring into the world. So I can't think of a more juicier place to sit into and to find that deeply dedicated devotion. And so I am actually creating a brand new course that is launching called Vibrational Voodoo. And this course is going to go over this energy psychology technique of emotional frequency tapping in detail. And I'm going to have several very short tapping meditations and techniques that you can do and start to do them on a daily basis to program your emotional state with the identity that you would prefer to be so that you can start to heal from these emotional processes and traumas and up level your identity and life and begin to thrive and begin to step into new stages of your identity without fear of your limiting beliefs. So that's one aspect of the course that I'm going to have. And that is like the foundation, the inspiration of the course in light of all the craziness that's been happening inside of this eclipse season. I had no idea that I was going to be doing this course right now, but Spirit was like, no, like we need to get this out ASAP. So it's out, it's available. Check it out on the website. And if it's not linked on the website inside the Mystery Academy cart, it will be there soon. I'm working on it if it's not there yet on yambs.co. Now, the other thing that I want to share with you that has really helped me to heal my identity, and this is something that I've been using for an even longer period of time, and it is a meditation technique. It's actually a self-hypnosis technique that I actually studied for back like, well, almost 15 years ago. I started doing this technique called the Silva method. The Silva method mind control. And it's so interesting because it's such a like classic technique. It's so old school, but it's so effective that now it has actually been purchased by like a larger corporation and they are spearheading this initiative because things that work never go away. So it's called the Silva method. And what this is a self-hypnosis process where you are actually taking your brain wave function. So the brain has multiple different waves if you measure it on a scale, just like how you can measure your heartbeat, you can also measure your brain. So we're getting super scientific just for today, but the techniques are actually very fun and very juicy. I'm just laying the scientific foundation for all of this. Let me get some water. So the brain has four different brainwave levels that it works through, okay, as we go throughout our day. And these speeds vary based upon our level of alertness. And I'll talk more about this in the course. But essentially, when we self hypnotize ourselves, we are slowing down our brain waves to a place where we can influence our subconscious mind with specific thoughts and habits and forms of identity. And we can start to hack and move beyond the physical masculine process of needing to go out and force things and take action and exhaust ourselves. We can go into these deeper states that affect us on a subconscious level and shift us internally. And in previous videos, I've talked about how our subconscious actually governs 90% of our behavior. And only about 10% of our behavior is actually conscious and aware. It's like driving home from work every day. By the time you get off work, you're ready to get in that car. You're not thinking about how you getting home. You're just zoned out. You're in the zone. You're thinking about getting home. And the next thing you know, even if it's been a 20-minute drive, you're like, wow, that drive went by fast. Now I'm here. And it is because your body has a subconscious patterning, a subconscious program that you don't have to think about. It's like chewing gum and walking. This is a subconscious habit, a subconscious pattern that you have because you've been practicing it for so long. It's deep inside of your awareness and it is a part of your identity. So, through this second self hypnosis technique, I've been using it for so many years on myself and with clients. It's so powerful. We're going to go into some really deep, life altering meditations, okay, where we are totally creating our reality and coming into vibrational reality with those identities that we see for ourselves using the Silva method technique. So I am so excited about the experience of clearing out these emotional blockages that we have, and then clearing that canvas, starting with a fresh slate, and then creatively constructing our identity through the power of our energy and these energy techniques and these hypnosis techniques. So before we go, let's do a quick meditation. Shout out to you all that are still on the video. Please comment below and let me know if you have ever experienced any of these techniques or if you can relate to having emotional cycles and emotional patterns in your body that you know on a deep intuitive level are the sources for chaos in your life. Let me know in the comments below. So let's do a quick meditation. Go ahead, put your feet on the floor or ground into whatever surface you're sitting on. You're sitting in the chair, feel that chair holding you up. Allow yourself to be embraced by whatever it is holding you right now. For me, I'm just feeling like this chair is just hugging my hips, hugging my body, helping me to stay upright and supporting me. And from here, we just want to take 3 deep breaths, softening our energy. And what I want you to do now is identify an emotion that you're struggling with today. And give that emotion a name, a label it. And I want you to invite that emotion to show you where it's located in your body. Keep breathing through any tension that emotion is bringing up, any discomfort that it's bringing up for you. Just let it be. Just allow that emotion to be what it is, and breathe. And let that emotion be how it is without judgment. Release a need to suppress it. Release the need to control it. Deep breath. And from this state of compassionate allowing, I want you to give gratitude. Give gratitude for this challenging emotion. Give gratitude for what it is showing you and what it is bringing to your awareness right now, from this space of compassionate surrender. And just embrace this part of your body. It is a part of the flow of life. Breathing. Allowing the gratitude to come in, and just embracing that it is a part of your human goddess experience. Compassionately surrendering to what this emotion is showing us. We give gratitude for the experience of feelings and the rich tapestry of feelings that we have the honor and the luxury in this conscious human experience to feel inside of our bodies. And breathe and give thanks. And with an inner smile, with compassionate allowing, come into your heart space. Allow compassionate allowing and surrender to fill your heart space. Breathe in gratitude and release. And with an inner smile, We're going to slowly open our eyes, wiggle our fingers and our toes. And coming back into the space, coming back into our bodies. This present moment. Oh, it feels so amazing and so beautiful to be able to honor every aspect that we are as goddesses, as human beings, having a fresh and unique experience each and every day of our lives. This is the juiciness of life. And just the honor of being goddesses and knowing that we are safe in our bodies and we are always safe within any experience that we have chosen through the acknowledgement of our conscious free will in this life. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, this content. I look so much forward to seeing you inside of this deep dive course. I'm sending you all the love. Thank you for staying to the end. I'll see you in the next one. One love.